Hello everyone, welcome to Sunburned Plays! Ace Attorney Trilogy episode 50! The Big 5-0! We're still in the middle of, some Trilogy testimony. We've just gotten to the bottom of the fact that Trilogy was waiting for Regina. We're still trying to ascertain, like, who he saw go in the direction of where the victim was killed. And sort of poking holes in the theory that, like, the only person he could have seen was Maximilian Galactica and all that stuff. So, I'll give you that I was waiting that night for Regina. But that doesn't change the fact that I saw Max in the plaza that night. He showed up after I'd been waiting there for about 5 minutes. I said good evening to him, but he didn't even acknowledge my presence. I'm absolutely sure it was him. I saw Maximilian Galactica at the scene. There's no way I can mistake someone wearing those 3 ridiculous symbols. So that means that Money didn't show up until after you saw Max? That's right. Money ran up less than a minute after I saw Max. Then Money snatched the ring and you went chasing after him? How long was it until you came back to where you were waiting? Well, let's see. I'd say about... I suppose 5 minutes, I think. So the victim could have arrived on the scene in that 5-minute stretch. Mr. Wright, please proceed with your cross-examination. They keep talking about those 3 symbols. I'm wondering when we actually get to, like, talk about it. I guess we'll probably, like, press the 3 symbols thing, and then, I don't know. We'll just press everything for now. So you were only concerned with waiting for Regina that night? That means you probably wouldn't have noticed if someone else showed up. You should think about how many eyes I actually have. I've got 4, you know. 4. F-O-U-R. Counting Ben, of course. With that many eyes, you really think something would have slipped by me? 4 eyes is an awful lot of attention directed at one area, I suppose. Yikes, the judge is even more dangerous to our case than Trilogy. Doesn't change the fact that I saw Max in the plaza that night. So you saw Max coming out of the Big Top that night? Of course that's where I saw him coming from. I was staring at the entrance to the tent the entire time. I guess that makes sense, especially since he was waiting for Regina. He showed up after I'd been waiting there for about 5 minutes. About what time would you say these events took place? You're one of the dumbest people on the planet if you can't figure it out yourself. You already know that practice finished promptly at 10 p.m. And you already know that I went to the lodging house right after practice. You don't need to be a brain surgeon to know around what time it was when I saw him. Just add 10 more minutes. I'm sure you can do that. Now, what time was it? Indeed, what time was it? What time was it? Let me think about that for a second. Yo! I'm no good at math! It was 10:10 p.m. Ah, yes, that sounds about right. It sounds about right because that's the time that I saw Max on the scene. I said good evening to him, but he didn't even acknowledge my presence. So you testified that you said good evening to Max that night. You must enjoy asking incredibly obvious questions. You say good morning in the morning and good afternoon during the day, right? And it's obvious that I'd say good night to someone at night. What, Ben, you got something to add? Let me guess. That's not it, Trilogy. You say good evening at night. I'm sorry, Trilogy. Mr. Quist, I would prefer if you kept your ventriloquist's act outside of the courtroom. Impossible! A performer lives and breathes his performances. You should know better. There's gotta be something wrong with this bit of testimony. I mean, he would have said goodnight, though, because everybody's going to bed afterwards. Let's see. Isn't that a bit strange to you? What do you mean? Well, if you hate Max so much, why would you bother being nice to him? It strikes me as somewhat strange. Why would it strike you as strange? Exactly. How is it strange to be cordial to one of your co-workers? Well, if it was simply just being cordial to a coworker, I would understand. Ow! That hurt! Maybe you should think of having some proof before your lips start flapping next time. Proof is everything in this world. You should have learned that back in grade school. There's no reason that Trilo would ever say something nice to Max. But how do I go about proving that with the evidence? Bluffing is everything in this world, but I'm sure you already learned that one. I guess I can give it a shot. The witness will resume his testimony. So we would present... Okay, so we would bluff his, I even said good evening to him thing. And we would bluff that with the ring? Something that has to do with their feud over Regina. Or something that would be like a reason for them to not like... Okay, no, okay. We would use the broken bottle, I think. Because because people were like, oh, this thing happened the day of the murder. Like, in the morning. And then, like, at night is, yeah, okay, so we would use the bottle to cancel that, probably. But let's keep going anyway. You are 100% absolutely sure of what you just said. I told you already, jeez, I am 100% absolutely sure. There's no way that he could be any more confident than that, right? No way I can mistake someone wearing those 3 ridiculous symbols. Those 3 ridiculous symbols, huh? Out of curiosity, exactly how many times have you asked that question by now? If you're gonna ask again, I'll answer with a chorus. Everyone together now. Silk hat, cloak, white roses. Thank you very much. Maya, you didn't have to join in, did you? But it's fun shouting out with everyone else. There has to be a hole in his testimony somewhere. I agree. But do we have the proof to make something stick? All we can do is try, right, Nick? We've got to have something that will prove useful. All right, time to go to work. Okay, let's try this. We will use the bottle. Now, why would you say good evening to someone who cracked you on the head with a damn bottle? Trilo, is it not true that you had a fight with Max on the day of the murder? A fight? A fight over Regina, to be exact. It wasn't that big of a deal, it was just an argument. A disagreement at most. A disagreement usually doesn't end with someone getting clonked over the head. Ah! That morning, Ben got clobbered over the head by Max, didn't he? What? Is that an admission of assault and battery? Ouch! Before we handle that, we should wrap up the defendant's murder charge first. The truth is that on the day of the crime, the defendant and witness had a huge fight. There is absolutely no way they would have suddenly become cordial that evening. Moreover, just consider the personality of the witness on stand. There is no way a puppet this lewd would just up and say good evening to his rival. Are you saying this witness is lying? That he is trying to frame the defendant by claiming to have seen him at a crime scene? I didn't tell a single lie. Honestly, I just... That's enough from you, Mr. Quist. And Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? Let's clarify this testimony for the court. Could you explain your theory about who the witness actually saw that night? I mean... It seems like it's too early to say that he saw a different person. Like, if I still think that it's like Acro, this person we've never even met yet, but like the monkey follows him around and shit, then I would say he saw a different person. But it feels like it's too early in the case because I feel like I'm jumping way ahead here. I mean, we could say that he was just lying and he didn't see anyone. Because we really don't have... There's no proof that he saw anybody. Let's start with didn't see anyone. Of course, the witness did not see a soul that night. I see. Who do you think you are to just up and decide what it is I saw that night? A fool can only understand a foolish foolery uttered by the most foolish of fools. This witness didn't see anyone. You wouldn't happen to have proof to back up that statement, would you? No. Well, as expected. It is my belief that the witness did indeed see someone that night. It was just someone else. That's who he said good evening to. What kind of theory is that? The correct one. Furthermore, I don't believe the person the witness saw was Max at all. What? If he had truly met Max that night, there would have been no greeting at all, which means there is only one proper answer. The person the witness saw that night was not Maximilian Galactica. That is why Trilo made the effort to greet whoever it was that he saw that evening. Or good evening, as he put it. What in the world? You... Would the defense kindly explain who it was Trilo saw that evening, then? Yeah, like, we don't even have Acro's profile. So I'm not sure that this is actually going to work. I'm going to say Russell Berry. Considering the ill temper of this witness, there is only one person he would greet. It must be Regina. It's Regina, right? She's so cute. No, Your Honor, it is not Regina. If it was Regina, Trilo would have given her the engagement ring as a present. Oh, yeah. I suppose you've got a point there. It was Russell Berry, the victim himself, was it not? You are correct. It was indeed Russell Berry. What? The person you saw that evening was the victim, the ringmaster, Russell Berry. That's why you greeted him, Trilo. Isn't that correct? Answer the question, Mr. Queest. Order! Order! Alright, I gotta not do that anymore. How do you respond to this? Wait a second! Well, at first I thought it was the old man, but, once I got a better look at him, it was obviously Maximilian Galactica. I think it is high time that we clear the air about this question. Mr. Quist obviously witnessed a single person in the area of the plaza that evening. The problem is identifying exactly who that person was. Was it Maximilian Galactica? Or was it the ringmaster, one Mr. Russell Berry? The prosecution argues that it was the defendant the witness saw last night. The witness has clearly stated that he saw the defendant's 3 symbols. 3 symbols? Alright, this is getting old. Come on, man, you've gotta remember them by now. Here we go again! Everyone, all together now! Ow! Yes, we know. The silk hat, cloak, and white roses. A silk hat and a cloak? Anyone could wear them. They'd even look good on me. What was that? Well, the witness has endlessly repeated that he saw Max's 3 symbols. However, how do we really know it was Maximilian Galactica? It could have been someone else dressed up as him. Possibly even Russell Berry. What? Miss Von Karma, do you have clear evidence that the person the witness saw was the defendant? Well, If that's the case, then it is impossible for me to make a judgment at this point. Yes! I think we finally won a point in this one. That is very unfortunate. Huh? You're just a little too excited for your own good, Mr. Phoenix Wright. What do you mean by that? You merely established one thing from this witness. You established that this witness saw one person in the plaza that night. I applaud you on your effort, but...
But?
Who that person was can only be answered by the next witness.
Huh?
Your Honor, the prosecution will provide, beyond a shadow of a doubt, an answer to that question, and evidence that clearly establishes one thing. That there is no one other than Maximilian Galactica responsible for the crime.
Very well. The court will take a 10-minute recess. During that time, I request the prosecution prepare their next witness. Court is now in recess.
To be continued. See, now this was 15 minutes before. And we were at like 50 minutes on the last episode, or like 40 or something. So it was good of me, you know, I didn't end it too early. Ended it right where it was gonna be a while anyway. Let's keep it going.
Sweetie, you have to believe me. I didn't go anywhere near that crime scene.
So then, where were you when the murder took place?
We talked about it yesterday, remember? I was in the ringmaster's room.
And while you were there, it was the ringmaster who left the room, right?
Exactly! He told me to wait in the room because he would be right back.
That's when the ringmaster headed to the scene of the crime, right?
That's what it seems like.
But the ringmaster must have been wearing Max's costume, right?
Oh, sweetie, I just remembered! I went straight to the ringmaster's room, still dressed in my stage clothes. But when I got there, I went ahead and took the costume off.
Which means?
It means that the ringmaster could have taken his costume and went out looking like Max. Fabulous! That's a fabulously possible possibility!
Well done, Nick.
However, sweetie, why would the ringmaster want to dress up like me? Isn't that a bit strange? If you think about it, all they found at the crime scene was my silk hat. What about my cloak? Where did that go?
Double, Wow, Max, I never thought of that. You should be a detective or something.
Well, I was never quite sure what to be when I grew up. Magician or president. You have no idea how hard it was to make a decision.
That's really cool.
Fabulous. This mystery just keeps getting deeper.
Indeed, where is the cloak?
Now that everyone is back, let's get started. The court is now back in session. Miss Von Karma, please proceed with the prosecution's case.
Very well. I will now call my next witness. A pitiful clown with the unfortunate distinction of having seen the entire thing. Will Mr. Lawrence Curls please take the stand?
Why did she just call him a pitiful clown? I don't know, maybe because he's divorced. And doesn't have custody.
The witness will state his name and occupation for the court record.
In West Cloudadelphia, born and raised...
Name and occupation.
Will the witness please inform the court why he is speaking in autobiographical gibberish?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just not used to being in court. I've never been in a courtroom in my life.
Well, that's not true. You had to lose custody of your kids somewhere.
I wasn't quite sure what joke is best suited to this sort of occasion.
What in the world are you talking about? You're in a grand hall of justice, not some comedy club. Since it's easy to see your occupation, please state your name for the court.
Oh, yeah, maybe this joke is okay. Mom, do I have to wear pants? The sign only says no shirt, no shoes, no service. Okay, how about this? Have you met my proctologist, Dr. Seymour Butts? How was that one? But a couple of clowns who were up to no good start making trouble and... Your name! Lawrence Curls, professional funny man, also known as Mo the Clown. You witnessed the scene at around 10:15 p.m. the day of the murder, correct? Yes it is.
Very well, Mr. Curls. Will you please testify to what you saw that evening?
A rabbi, a priest, and a Rastafarian walked into this plaza.
Without the humor, please. Okay.
Aw, poor Mo can't be his normal stoogey self in court.
I know. I'm not the greatest comedian in the world. I haven't been able to make people laugh for 10 years. No matter what I say, all I get in return is a vacant stare and polite applause. Since no one ever laughs at my jokes, I've taken to laughing at them myself. It's a bad habit, but hey, at least I'm trying. Imagine my predicament. I'm a clown who can't make people laugh. I'm almost useless. But I keep trying. I even tried to come up with jokes just for today. But this atmosphere is very nerve-wracking. I decided to try making everyone laugh. Seriously, everyone, what do you think of me? How am I doing? Aren't we the ones supposed to be asking the questions here?
Witness?
Huh?
We will listen to your call for help after the court proceedings are over. Thus, please stick to the facts of this case.
Really? You'll really hear me out?
Well, I'll make sure that one of my staff will be your straight man later.
Thank you, I can't wait!
Poor Gumshoe.
Now that that's settled, shall we begin once again with the testimony? Of course we can! I'll talk for as long as you want! The night of the murder, after practice was over, I went straight back to my room. You have no idea how tired I was that night. I was pooped. I thought I'd go straight to sleep, but before I did, I glanced out the window. That's when I saw two silhouettes. They were a bit far away, though. It was the ringmaster, and he was with Max, who was wearing his cloak. I kept watching them, and all of a sudden Max clunked the ringmaster over the head. That's very interesting. If this eyewitness account is to be believed, I have enough to pass judgment right now.
Of course you can. There's no way that this account can be criticized.
However, the witness is a bit, how do you say, off-kilter. Almost like he has some sort of atmosphere of guilt surrounding him.
That must be because of my insincere smile.
Mr. Wright, please begin the defense's cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. Nick, you've got to find some kind of contradiction in his testimony.
I know that. Mr. Wright. Your Honor? I'm afraid that if you push this witness too far, it would bring disaster upon the court. Thus, I sincerely hope you are not going to engage in pointless saber-rattling.
I understand, Your Honor. If you cause this clown to stray from the facts, I'll hold you responsible.
Why am I responsible? I'm not the one with the corny jokes. Damn, that means we need to not just press him 100% of the time. I went straight back to my room. I'm gonna press him anyway. I don't care. You'd say that practice wrapped up around 10 p.m., correct? See, that's the thing. Huh? How exactly am I supposed to make a joke about 10 p.m.? Now 8 o'clock, that's something a clown can riff off of. Let's just pretend it was 8 o'clock. That way I can make a great joke. Let's not make it 8 p.m., alright, Mo? What do you mean, let's not? Don't take the clown out of the clowning around!
Come on, Nick, just listen to his joke.
There are 3 reasons why I don't want to. 1, I probably won't laugh. 2, I'll get hit with a penalty. 3, I'll get whipped. Will the witness just proceed with his factual testimony?
You are so boring.
How pooped were you? You so should have said that. You were pooped that night? Yes, I was very, very tired. Not to mention I had some bad Mexican food. What? The double cheese double. Bean enchilada is a dangerous menu item. What happened after that, as they say, happens. That one was cool, huh? I hear the kids really love toilet humor these days. That joke was so hip, I don't want to ruin it with a reply. I've got a good reply, though. That joke was so funny, it just earned you a penalty. Damn. Well, let's not be doing that, then. Alright, we didn't hear his joke. And then we don't press that statement. I thought I'd go straight to sleep, but before I did, I glanced out the window. Let's save here. You just happened to glance out of the window? You could say that. You could also say I peeked, stared, glimpsed, peeped, eyeballed. Mr. Curls. Oh, I guess synonyms aren't allowed either. What should I do? I wonder if I should press him further on this issue. Exactly why did you look out of your window that night? Why? Why? Clowns don't need a reason to look out their windows, do they? That's not what I meant. I meant that, well, when we spoke yesterday... Once I tucked myself into bed, I heard this amazing noise. It was incredibly loud. It sounded like a giant thump. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You forgot? Your Honor, the witness looked out of his window upon hearing a loud sound. He did not just simply glance out of his window that night. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot to mention that thump, didn't I? Ow, 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 ow! That's not something you just forget to mention. Yeah, what she said. I believe it would be best if Mo were to revise his testimony. Very well. Mr. Curls, please revise your testimony. This should start turning the tables in our favor. I heard a huge noise outside the window, and that's what made me take a look outside. That means you wouldn't have been able to actually see somebody get hit on the head. You said they were far away. Would you be able to really hear that? If it was a loud thump, like, it would have been the trunk. The trunk would have made that noise. If somebody just, like, kind of dropped it on the ground or something. So now let's press this. What was the sound like? Well, I guess it kind of sounded like... I guess you could say... Mr. Curls, may the court remind you that humor is unnecessary. Oh! How'd you know that I was gonna make a joke? I guess that the sound sounded like I suppose it sounded like someone getting hit with something very hard. Yep, that's what it sounded like, honestly. Someone getting hit, huh? What then? You went to look out the window and you saw... That's when I saw two silhouettes. They were a bit far away, though. I mean, I gotta say that, like, every point in this testimony, just pressing the wrong thing gets me the penalty. Far away, you say? If you had to say exactly, how far away were they? Let me think about that for a second. If my room is here, and they looked about yay big, I'd say they're about 30 feet from my window. Just 30 feet? That's not far at all. It was snowing that night, and it cut down on visibility. I see. Please continue with your testimony regarding the two shadows that you saw. It was the ringmaster, and he was with Max, who was wearing his cloak. But he couldn't have been wearing his cloak because of what Max just said, that he left his cloak behind. But that's not in the court record, so we can't, like... You know. We can't actually, like, do anything about that. Or say anything. Press. After we do this again. You'd say you clearly saw this, even though you were, by your own admission, far away? That's right. I had been thinking about it over and over since that night, but things didn't really make sense until I spoke with the prosecutor, Miss Von Karma. But now I'm 100% certain that it was Max and the ringmaster that I saw that night. Just think about it. How could I be wrong if Max is always wearing his uppity symbols? Uppity symbols? Lawyers nowadays, do you even have to go to school anymore to be one? Alright, everyone knows what to do. All together now, say it with Uncle Mo. See what I mean? It's always like this. The crowd never wants to go along with me. I must really be utterly and completely worthless as a clown. Yowza! Enough foolishness. Get back on track. Will the witness please testify as to what he saw, and only what he saw? I kept watching them, and all of a sudden Max clonked that ringmaster over the head. You say you saw the ringmaster get clonked over the head? Yes, I did! It's the climax of my story! He really does enjoy the completely random non sequitur. What would you say the victim was struck with? You mean the weapon? I have no idea. A weapon wasn't found at the murder scene, right? That's not what I meant. You did say you did see everything, didn't you? Well, yeah, I suppose I did. Wait, no I didn't. I didn't see a weapon. Mo! Did you or did you not see the crime of murder committed that night? I will not permit you to harass my witness in this manner. You'd better have an excellent reason for attacking this poor, poor clown. Because if you don't, you know what is waiting for you. A nice penalty! Oh wow, it's gonna take off like half my shit. You see that? Half my bar's gone if I get this wrong. Time to save. Isn't this a bit melodramatic? So what will it be then, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Do you have any clear basis to believe that my witness did not see the crime? I've got a great reason to make my claim. And I suppose you will be telling us all that great reason. Of course I will. The reason is the witness's very own testimony. What is the meaning of that, Mr. Wright? Mo said that he heard a sound like a thump of someone getting hit. He did say that. However, Mo just stated the following under oath. I kept watching them, and all of a sudden Max clonked the ringmaster over the head. If Mo is to be believed when he says he looked out the window upon hearing a sound, there is no way that he could have seen Max clonk anyone. In 1972, a crack clown, you know, Mr. Curls, how do you respond to Mr. Wright's assessment? They didn't commit. These clowns promptly escaped from a maximum security clown car. Mr. Curls, are you reciting the C-Team theme to anger this court? No. I'm just stalling for time while I jog my memory. Great job, Nick. These types of witnesses always seem to have a selective memory. You just have to peel back the layers of the clown makeup to find the truth. Well, you're back from your jog. That was fucking sassy, Judge. Oh, that's good. Well, it pretty much happened the way I said. Pretty much? When I looked out my window that night, the ringmaster was already face down in the snow. The prosecution helped me fill in the gaps of my statement. Von Karma. Tampering with witnesses again. So now you are saying that you did not see the defendant clonk the ringmaster? Yes. When I looked out my window, the ringmaster had already checked out. Checked out? Yep, he was on permanent vacation, as they say. Mr. Curls! Your Honor? You did not witness the actual crime, however you still say you saw the criminal, correct? Yes, exactly! The ringmaster was slumped over, and I saw someone's silhouette next to him. Very well, then please testify to this silhouette you saw. I expect the truth. And if I even catch a hint of a joke from you, I will put you in a holding cell until you learn court etiquette. Got it? Got it. It was a bit far away, but that shadow could only have belonged to Max. There's no doubting it, especially since I saw his uppity symbols. His silk hat, that black cloak, they were all there. His face was silhouetted, but there was no doubt that it was him. His cloak was fluttering in the wind, so I couldn't really see what he was carrying. It does seem as if the defendant was at the scene of the crime. It took the clown long enough to get his facts straight. But whatever, this should finally be good enough, yes? It is decisive testimony. Was Max really at the crime scene that night? He said he wasn't there. We have to believe in that. All right, Mr. Wright, commence your cross-examination.
bit far away. The shadow could only belong to Max. There's no doubting it, especially since I saw his uppity symbols. Silk hat, that black cloak. Black cloak? No black cloak, sir! Max's symbols are other stuff. You say you saw all of Max's uppity symbols? I suppose so. The silk hat and the cloak, right? Mo, everyone knows that Maximilian Galactica has 3 uppity symbols. 3 symbols? Yay! Everyone get ready! All together now! Silk hat, cloak, white trousers! What the? Who cares if he knew that there was 3 or not? He saw what he saw, and he saw the symbols. He just forgot to mention one. Isn't that right, Mo? Do you like pie? I love pie! 3.14159.265. Silence, fool! You are to respond with the whole truth! No fractions! Order! Order! Mo, you didn't see the roses, did you? To be honest, there weren't any roses on the person I saw. The crime scene was dark. It's obvious it was too dark to see that kind of detail. But the witness said he was able to see the silhouette of the criminal's face. Not to mention that the roses are white. There's no way he could have missed them. Then the roses must have fallen off when the defendant assaulted the victim. If that was the case, then the police would have found them near the crime scene. Mr. Wright, are these white roses truly material to the facts of this case? Clearly not. He is just toying with this court. I got her on the ropes now. These seemingly insignificant facts have never failed to lead me to the truth yet. Someone is toying with the court, but it's not me. Your Honor, do you recall Trilo's testimony? There's no way I could mistake someone wearing those 3 ridiculous symbols. How can you mistake someone with that crazy getup and his nose stuck up so high? How could you mistake someone wearing such a snobby 3-piece getup? Trilo saw them all. Trilo saw all 3 of Max's symbols. However, this witness claims there were no white roses on the person he saw. There is absolutely no doubt that this is a contradiction. Now what am I supposed to think? One is supposed to disregard the pointless, but this... Judge, forget the roses. Think about his other testimony. The witness has stated without a doubt that he saw Maximilian Galactica. Nothing else matters. Let's wrap this case up now. Your Honor, it may be trivial, but it does cast doubt on the prosecution's case. Frankly, I have my doubts about this witness. It seems that, unlike wine, the witness has not grown more mature with age. I'm not... mature? I've come to a conclusion. I'm 99% certain that this witness saw the defendant. However, my remaining 1% of doubt is quite reasonable, which means that for my peace of mind, I'm going to request a bit more testimony. What? If there are no contradictions in his next statement, I am prepared to issue a ruling. A ruling? Nick, this is your last chance. I like how the mouth on his hat also changes to what his actual mouth is, and I'm wondering how that's possible. There's no doubt in my mind, there were no white roses that night. However, see, like, it's different now. Like, how do you... It's like... Are you controlling it? How do you do this? However, all of the other symbols were there. I'm equally sure of that. Especially the silk hat. There's no way I could forget seeing the decorations on it. He was wearing it the entire time that he was on the scene. Mr. Wright, you've got one last chance at this. Just one chance? I will not allow even the slightest hint of badgering against this witness. If you are going to prove to me there's a contradiction with Mr. Curl's statement, you'd better have at least a shred of evidence to back up your accusations. I've only got a single shot as this. I've got to be careful. I understand, Your Honor. One chance is all I will need. No doubt in my mind there were no white roses that night. I believe him saying there were no white roses. That's the true part. Because it was somebody else's cloak. He said it was a black cloak. And the dude doesn't wear a black cloak. If you look at the profile. That is a purple cloak, sir. Alright. However, all of the other symbols were there. I'm equally sure of that. Especially the silk hat. There is no way I could forget seeing the decorations on it. I have to press this statement because I have to know what decorations he's talking about. Mo, be honest. Ow! You promised, Mr. Phoenix, right? God damn it. He was wearing it the entire time that he was on the scene. Well, that's false, because we found the silk hat on the evidence. It was found at the crime scene. This wouldn't happen to be the silk hat you saw that night, would it? Yep, that's it! That's the hat he was wearing that night! No question in your mind? Exactly how would one mistake a thing like that? I see. Is there some sort of problem, Mr. Wright? Miss Von Karma, where exactly was the silk hat found? Must you always ask these questions? It was found at a crime scene. The crime scene? That means... The silk hat fell off at the crime scene. However, the witness clearly testified to the contrary. The witness stated that he was wearing it the entire time that he was on the scene. No! That's not true! Order! 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 Mr. Curls! Yes, Your Honor? What is the meaning of all this? You are old enough to know better than to behave like this in court. Hey, that's just not right. That's so harsh. What's not right here is your eyesight and your memory, amongst other things. Why are you being so mean to me? What did I do? Let me guess. You just didn't like my jokes or something, right? You didn't have to go and insult my eyesight or my memory. They're both great. Seriously, why? Just because you're sitting above me, no matter how old I get, I'll always be younger than you. Enough of these childish outbursts, Mr. Curls. Who do you think you are? I saw him! I swear I saw him! It was Max! Even if he didn't have his roses, he was still wearing this dumb silk hat! I'm telling the truth! He's turned into a bratty little kid. It's pitiful, isn't it? He left the scene wearing that dumb silk hat! He was there! He left the scene? What's the matter, Nick? There's something I've been mulling over for a while now. Mo? What do you want? You just said that he left the scene. Exactly how did the murderer leave the scene of the crime? What? He went... what do you mean, how did he leave the scene? You can't ask me that! Mr. Phoenix Wright is badgering the witness, Your Honor. This witness's testimony is so full of holes, Miss Von Karma's protest is useless. You've got a point. Let's hear what the witness has to say on this matter. Is that all right with you, little guy? Don't talk to me like I'm a little baby! Besides, what kind of stupid question is how did he leave the crime scene? The answer is obvious. He just turned around and walked away! That's what I expected you'd say. You sure that's how it happened? Say what? Huh? I'm not sure I know exactly where you're going with this. Lawyers nowadays sure do love to harp on the smallest things. Do you have any proof to counter his story as to how the criminal left the scene? Oh, yes! The fact that there is no footprints. Are no footprints. Look at this picture. The problem is the footprints in the snow. Footprints? In this photo, we can clearly see the footprints of the victim. However, where are the criminal's footprints? They aren't there. So, Mo, exactly how did the criminal escape the scene? Your Honor,
This witness has already proven that his testimony is completely unreliable. I move to strike all of this witness's testimony from the court record. I agree. This clown's testimony is as rickety as the clown car he came to court in. Wait just a second! You guys can't just ignore everything I've said! Fine, I'll tell you the truth this time! You wait a second! I think you've said more than enough for today! Well, that didn't hurt! I'm sick and tired of listening to you anyways! I'll give you the real deal this time, I swear!
I don't know why, but I get the feeling things are gonna get worse before they get better.
Mr. Lawrence Curls.
Yes?
The testimony you've provided up until now has been false?
It hasn't been false! I haven't lied! It's just...
It's just what?
It's just I was a bit confused on the bit about the criminal leaving the scene. Especially since Von Karma and her whip told me not to talk about what I really saw.
Order! Order! I will have order!
Dude, she should be fucking disbarred like a century ago. Why do they let people, like, still be lawyers after this shit?
Franziska Von Karma, how could you?
Your Honor, if you had heard the truth from this witness, you would have exactly the same opinion as I have.
What opinion is that?
It's not funny!
That's enough out of you. I'm going to listen to what he has to say. Now then, let's hear the truth about what you say you saw, Mr. Curls.
Ha! You're not gonna believe this, but it's all true, I tell you. Try not to waste our time with your idiotic drivel. Oh, are they about to say that he flew? There's no footprints because he just, like, flew and hit him in the head? Now it's time for our next segment, Mo Knows! Everything that I've said up until now has been the truth. When I looked out the window, the ringmaster was down and Max was standing above him. He wasn't wearing his white roses, but he was wearing the silk hat. That's when I saw he... This is the truth now. Get ready for it. He flew! He jumped up and flew through the air! He flew right off and disappeared into the darkness! That's why there were no footprints! Flying people don't leave footprints! I told you it wasn't funny. Do you believe me now?
Well, that was, how do you put this into words?
Maximilian Galactica is a world-class magician, but to leave the scene of a crime by flying, there's no way that actually happened.
You're right.
Why is she right? You believe the other witnesses. Why won't you believe me? Especially since it's the best part of the story.
To be honest, this is the first time I've heard of a flying criminal. What do you think about this witness's testimony, Mr. Wright?
I mean, to me, that just puts even more doubt on the frickin' acrobat. Like the trapeze artist. Like he set up a trapeze and just like sort of flew up. I think he's telling the truth. What he just said was so strange, I don't think he would have made it up.
Which means that he is telling the truth?
That's what I think. Nick, wait! That means that Max actually used magic. Yikes, you're right. Ow! Only a foolish-looking fool could be fooled by such a foolish fool's foolish dream. Don't be ridiculous. Magic does not exist.
I suppose I will let you all in on my thinking regarding this matter. The criminal disappeared into the sky. I'd love to believe that, but I just can't wrap my head around how that could actually happen.
You imbecile!
If you disregard a need for proof, Miss Von Karma's case is sound. However, I've got the feeling that this case is in dire need of more investigation. Thus, I will conclude today's proceedings at this point. It's an undisputed fact that the criminal left no footprints at the scene. Tomorrow, I want us to find out the reason behind this mystery of mysteries.
Yeah.
I believe that's enough for today. Court is adjourned.
December 29th.
Hey, sweeties! What in the world is going on? That's what I want to know.
They say the criminal flew off into the air and disappeared.
Max, I can't believe I'm asking this, but you didn't fly that night, did you? I know you didn't mean to ask me such a fabulously stupid question. I can't fly whenever I please, it's not that easy.
But it looks so effortless for you on stage.
It's not that simple. I'm not actually flying on stage. I use invisible wires and have them hoist me through the air.
Wow, you just told me the secret to your magic.
No! I broke the first rule! The cardinal rule! The only rule! I'm sorry, Max. We made you break a magician's creed to never reveal the secret to their tricks.
Nick, what do we do now?
All we can do now is hope we find the flying criminal in court tomorrow.
Great idea. Let's do our best and catch this sucker.
Dude, it's the acrobat. It's so obvious. I mean, I don't think this is a bad case. Like, is a case's quality based solely on how obvious or not obvious it is? Because this case, it's full of a colorful cast of characters. Like, it's an interesting predicament. It's just kind of extremely obvious. That's the only issue. I mean, it's kind of like the game spoils it for you, and then you just have to kind of go through the motions in the next 2 hours. But I don't think that's necessarily... Like, it doesn't mean it's not still entertaining. Like, this is a super entertaining case, and, like, that last trial, like, that's the maddest the judge has ever been. Like, character development and the dialogue is, you know, super sound on this, so... But that's going to do it for this episode. We're going to do some more investigating in the next one. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.